Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Books, Curse, and Purrs. I'm Leslie, and this is
Samantha, hi guys.
this year we are buddy reading on a quarterly basis. Our segment's called Lust Lawless, a romance and murder mystery buddy read series. And what is a caveat, Sam?
Oh, am I supposed to respond now? So they're all going to be themed. So each book we're going to have one romance and we're going to have one murder mystery. And they're all going to be themed around one thing. So today it's all themed around food.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's
Always a
going to be
culinary
fun.
element, right? Yes.
Yes, exactly.
And so this time around, we just kind of like pick two books and agree on it. I've just made this up right now and I'm saying it now here. I think for the rest of the year, I was thinking I'll choose a murder mystery and then I'll have you choose the romances. Do you want to do it
So
like that? I just feel like you're better in the romance
I don't know what you're
choices.
talking about. I read nothing but historical books, non-fiction books.
My
I
heart is
don't read this
collective. So,
romance. I don't know what you're talking about.
all right. So, we'll be discussing two books. I'll read the synopsis really quick. Oh, sorry. I'm going to sneeze. The Quiche of Death, the first Agatha Raisin mystery by M.C. Beaton. Um, so the synopsis is bored, lonely, and used to getting her way, she enters a local baking contest. Surely a blue ribbon for the best quiche will make her the toast of the town. But her recipe for social advancement sours when the judge, Mr. Cummings Brown, not only snubs her entry, but also falls over dead. After her quiche secret ingredient turns out to be poison, she must reveal the unsavory truth. So that's Agatha. And the second book, which is a romance, is by Joan, known as J.K. Lambo, Culinary Confessions. Madeline Jones has always wanted to take over her aunt's bakery. For her dream to finally come true, she has to bake a wedding cake for a customer and nail it to perfection. Luckily for her, her best friend Justin is in town after finishing culinary school. He decides to help Maddie out and the pair start working on the most perfect wedding cake they can muster. But between sugar, flour, and tasty filling, the two best friends slowly understand that there is more than friendship lingering in the air. As they spend their days alone in a small kitchen, how long can they deny their ever growing chemistry? Now, Sam, give a non spoiler short review of each book, what you thought.
Okay. Um, we'll start with Quiche of Death. Um, I loved the kind of callback to those old school detective books, like Sherlock and things like that. I did enjoy the callback to it. Sometimes it got a little crazy for me, and a little illogical every once in a while. It's just, but honestly, in the end, I felt like it was kind of a fun ride, and I I did end up enjoying it. But I kind of figured out who done it like pretty quickly. I do have to say. And then for Culinary Confessions, it brought back some PTSD from culinary school for me. I actually did sort of identify with a lot of what they were talking about. Um, and I did enjoy kind of seeing their relationship evolve from friends to maybe something more. And then also, I just love the cooking aspect of it and the baking, specifically the baking aspect of it. I really did enjoy. I thought it was light, it was cute. It was very kind of innocent, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. Very innocent.
Yeah, yeah, extremely innocent.
I've been reading too much. Let me hold off on that for a second. To give my non-spoiler review, the Keisha death, I had high hopes for it. Maybe I set the bar, like what I imagined in my head was just so different from what I got. I
Yeah,
think I wanted something like a little bit more quirky. I don't know. Yeah, because I think to bring up a different author we reviewed before, Emma Bennett, she does has like a sharp wit in her cozy reads that I feel like balances it out to where I like it, like just enough for me to like stay engaged.
hmm,
And I thought I would get that in the Keisha death. And there is kind of like a dry sense of humor, which I don't mind. I think I just kind of needed a little more of a lift of that.
it was very
Um,
British,
yeah, but it's like the thing is, I do like British
but
humor, so it's like,
not the charming British. It was more just the straightforward,
yeah, I
dry
guess.
British. Yeah.
Yes, something about it wasn't working. I just a little more. Um, yeah, I think you probably maybe that's what it is. Um, so I didn't really feel engaged. I didn't figure out who it was, and I think that was just because I was just kind of like on autopilot reading it. I wasn't like trying to figure it out, which is actually a great point. Maybe I should pay attention to moving forward, try to analyze it deeper and figure out who I thought it is and when moving forward, since it is a murder mystery we're covering. Um, and there wasn't a particular character that I really felt like locked into. I still enjoyed it. I also found out someone told me this in a chat was that this was made into a series, like a television series, which I haven't seen. I wonder if it's
What?
yeah, yeah. There's like 4 seasons or something like that. I didn't know that.
Is it a British series?
I don't know. I just kind of like I just Googled and took a peek really quick. But I'll look it up.
I need to. I need more details.
Let me look it up then. Let me look it up. Uh, hold on. Where do I look?
I
I'm
I
behind.
I mean, there are quite a few books, but I will say in your defense about not really globbing onto a specific character,
Uh-huh.
like if you're not pulled into the book, if it doesn't engage you, then you're not going to want to think about that or try to figure
Mhm.
out. Like I know for me it was hard for me to care in a lot of ways when I was reading it because it did the same to me where it didn't engage me. So I
Yeah.
totally get that for sure.
Yeah. Let me click on this. I'll share it with you.
I'm I cannot believe this. Oh my god. You know what? I feel like I've heard of this.
I've never heard of it. I had no clue. I think you know what it was? It's because when we went into the bookstore and we like randomly saw
Yeah.
the book and the title was
Yeah.
so silly, but I've never seen it. I guess this is from
Who's in the cast? I can't see. I'm old.
oh
I
girl, let
can't
me
see
flip
that
her.
small.
Ashley Jensen, Hermione Norris, Robert Bathurst, Lucy Lyman, I think, Kathy Wicks, Jamie Glover.
Okay.
Let's go to IMDb. Oh, so there's a season 5 maybe gonna come out? I don't know.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's on Sky One, so it's definitely a UK thing.
Yeah, it's definitely UK.
Oh, it just gave me the cast. Where the hell's
That's crazy. Who knew? I mean, I feel like it is set up to become a great series. So it actually doesn't shock me all that much that it is a series. because like it reminds me
A
of
series, yeah.
yeah.
Where the hell
And
are
I
the
was like,
photos?
actually,
Oh, that's not really it. They
so
only have two photos.
so like as I was reading this, I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. It's called Murder by Death. It's made in the 70s, and it's a play on a murder mystery. And they call all these detectives. So, like, instead of Nick and Nora Charles, it's like Dick and Dora and Sam Spade, and it's Sam Diamond is his name, and but I mean, the cast is insane. It's like Alec
Mm.
Guinness, who plays a blind butler, and Nancy Walker, who is a maid who is deaf and mute at the same time. So, I mean, that is just like comedic gold because he can't see that she can't hear or speak.
Mhm.
So he tells her stuff to do, and then she has no idea what to do. But yeah, so it's Alec Guinness, Nancy Walker, Truman Capote.
What?
Like, Truman freaking Capote. Actually, Truman Capote is in it. And
You know he was a
it's
fame whore.
I mean it's insane because and then it's also like Maggie Smith, like really young Maggie Smith is in
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
uh Estelle, she's one of the old Hollywood silent film actresses. So she was elderly at this point, but she was in it. And like there was a character called like Jessica Marbles, and I mean it was all just a play. And so they were all invited to dinner to find out who murdered the host, which was Truman Capote.
Mm.
And so it like pits all of these characters, detectives together to figure out who done it. And they're all like in this mansion. I mean, it's hilarious. And it's also just kind of a fun, like, detective series.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is kind of like why I do enjoy mysteries, just
Yeah.
because like in this, Agatha Raisin would have fit perfectly
Yeah. Yeah.
into that sort of setting.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want it to be like that. You want it to be that kind of like, oh, who done it, kind of grab you into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with what you said. It just kind of didn't pull
Yeah.
me in that way, for
Yeah. And
sure.
then also, and I know this is clearly meant to be more like cozy mystery. So I am fine with that. I'm all for cozy mystery. I just needed, yeah, I just need a little more. And then with Culinary Confessions, I also did like that since here's my problem is that I always gravitate towards books. Like I'm telling you, I try to find something happy, joyous, but I always go for like nonfiction, historical fiction, drama, and I still that's what I find riveting. But I'm in
Hmm.
emotional turmoil most of the time. So having this time to have culinary confessions, well, actually, I felt was also like a cozy romance read. Um, I did like it. I just felt like there are all these culinary elements I liked. I think I just wanted a little more description. Um, about the process. We do get that as like time goes on. There's like an expansion of
Hmm.
that, but I wanted more description about the world overall that we're in.
Yeah.
We're just only with whoever is basically the main character and a little bit with a secondary. I
Hmm.
just kind of wanted more description of like how do I say this? When a character goes into a room, I want them to like describe like how the smell of the cupcakes wafts in the air and what kind of cupcake because we don't always know what kind of cupcake it is when she's
Yeah.
making cakes and stuff like that.
It's very generic.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so the author has a newsletter and they really like to bake and they'll share their photos as well of like baking and stuff, which
Mm,
You know I love. If it's food, I'm there. But I felt like because of that, I just thought there would be more descriptions or more specificity
yeah.
when it came that, and there we didn't really get that. And I was ready for it. I was like, feed
I
me
want
this
to be
book.
jealous of these characters that they're eating all of this, or
Yeah,
they get to smell it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I also at times wanted because the characters do something that I do enjoy in books, which is their thoughts will meander to the past or whatever, and I'm all good for a good meandering. But thought it would be um an interesting idea if like maybe while they're making the food for a certain scent or a smell to remind the main
To remind them.
character.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and
Yeah.
then that would of another experience they had together. I thought that would be like a cute little thing, and we didn't get that. Not that it really had to, but I just thought it would be like an improvement on the material.
Yeah.
And that's basically the end of my non-spoiler. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the spoiler banner on as I do.
Spoiler chat.
All right. So should we start with the quiche?
The quiche of death. No,
Oh,
I
can I say
mean,
something? Wait a minute,
go
wait,
ahead.
hold on. Sorry. We forgot to do something. Would you like to share with the audience what you made?
Oh, why, yes. It actually is tied to the second book in Culinary Confessions. There is speak of brownies uh, at towards the end. And there's a scene in the grocery store scene when they get the list because they're going to go to battle in the grocery store to gather all of their ingredients. They talk about putting like cayenne, in essence, chili powder in brownies. So I made brownies.
Nom 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 nom.
And while I do agree that they're, if you add a little spice to brownies, I do enjoy that. It kind of reminds me of like Mexican hot chocolate,
Mhm,
which I do love. So I felt inspired while reading the book and made some brownies
yeah.
that you don't get to have, but I do.
Samantha and also my daughter are like culinary geniuses, if you will. We
I would go that far.
compared to me, I, on the other hand, put what do you call it? A crumpet in the air fryer, and I put melted chocolate on it with
I
apple
love
syrup.
it. I love it.
Not as pretty. I kind of feel like yours is like chef version. Mine is like me in kindergarten pasting glue.
It's like culinary finger paint.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I mean, I did go to culinary school, so.
That's true. That's true.
But honestly, I am much more of a harsher critic on myself
Mm-hmm.
than probably normal people.
But that's why your stuff and you know, Elisa's stuff is tastes so good, my kid. It tastes so dang good because you guys are really critical. Oh, what happened? Sorry, my screen went
That's
blank for a
okay.
second. I
Oh,
was like,
weird.
no, no, no. I was like, don't do that.
Come back, Charlie Brown. We're not done yet. I mean,
But
your daughter
so yeah,
is my mini me somehow. So
truly.
I don't understand.
Me either. So many things.
Oh
Oh
goodness.
god.
But yeah. Oh, you're gone. Well, sorry about technical difficulties. Let me see if we can get her back. like, so thank you for joining my book talk. Leslie is no longer a part of it. It's just mine. She's working to get back. Okay. But now that she's gone, let's really talk about Leslie, Okay. Oh, yay!
I'm sorry.
I was like, now she's gone. Let's talk about Leslie. What do you guys think about Leslie?
I exited out of everything. The all the other web browsers. I was like, "You're gone. Go." Maybe that's the issue.
Shoo. That's hilarious.
Story of my life. Okay. Oh Lord.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. I can stop panicking now. Oh yeah. Okay. So yes.
So, Agatha Raisin. This is like today's brought to you by our ADHD.
Yes, the two of us. This is why we would go to hang out, and then like 5 hours later, I'm like, "Girl, I gotta go. So many things I haven't done because we got derailed."
Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't have ADHD.
Oh my God.
So Agatha Raisin, which honestly, it's kind of funny because both books brought me back to culinary school in a way, just because Agatha's in the UK.
Yeah.
So it reminded me a lot of my experience while I was there.
Yeah.
And like at one point she goes to London, she goes to Foyle's bookshop, which was I wish it was which was down the street from my flat where I was. So I would go to that Foyle's all the time. It's kind of like a little more independent Barnes and Noble, but still kind of had that same feel.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy that aspect of the book. I think that's one of the only things that really like drew me in was just kind of the British kind of colloquialisms that they used, and like some of the shops and just kind of the like town names and things like that I really did enjoy. But I completely agree. Like, none of these characters, honestly, for me, just pulled me in. I was just like, oh, cool, they're there.
Yeah, it was a rough one to kick off our series on. I was like, dang. I was rooting for it. It was just, the title's so cute. We were cackling when we saw the title.
I know, it was hilarious. Come on. I mean, I always joke that I would bake laxatives into my desserts for the people that I don't like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that, people. I promise I would never do that. But I just love the idea that someone would use a quiche to murder someone.
Yeah.
Which I have a bone to pick.
All right.
Okay. So, when they're describing what cow's bane is, and they say it's in hang on, I wrote it down, the carrot and parsley family. I want to know why their first assumption would be, oh, someone mixed it up for spinach. It doesn't look like spinach.
Yeah.
It looks like a weed.
Yeah.
Like greenery filler for floral arrangements.
Yeah.
And especially if it's a parsley and like, the tops of carrots. So that's what they're referring to when they say it's in the carrot family, because it has that kind of look. I've never seen spinach that looks like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of, when I was reading and they got to that point, and I think it was one of the detectives said it was like they just mistook it. They probably just mistook it for spinach. I'm like, what kind of spinach are you using?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, spinach does not look like that. Not even baby spinach.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I that kind of was like turned me off a little bit because I was like, at that point it becomes what I don't know the term that I'm looking for, but I know there's a word for it. It just it becomes it's not true, but it's just kind of easy. That's like the easy way out at this point to be like, oh, someone mistook it for spinach. Like it just kind of is like, oh yeah, sure, that works. That kind of like I think was another thing that kind of threw me off of the book was they just kind of like pushed the envelope with some things
Yeah.
that like maybe I can see, but it wasn't like the perfect sort of like
Basically, it's
comparison.
kind of adjacent to like a misnomer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. It needs to be
No.
believable, right?
Right. Right. And so you kind of took, I felt like they took the easy way out to be like, oh yeah, sure. I mean, it kind of it's green. It looks, like oh, it's green. It's fine. It's the same.
Yeah. And someone, by the way, I don't even know what it looks like when I caught that. But if we're actually supposed to believe that this person saw it in front of them, then they would. You don't need to be a chef to know the difference.
Right, right. Everyone knows what spinach looks like. Even
Yeah.
friggin' canned spinach. Like
Mhm.
it looks the same. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that to me was definitely one of those like, really? Okay, I guess
Yeah.
you could say that. And I felt like because of that, it it let them go down the wrong path for a while, and
Yeah.
especially for the investigation. And I was just kind of that, and that's another thing that kind of put me off of it, was just because of that one thing. Then it just kind of wasted. It was like filler, because at that
Yeah.
point it's like, yeah, it's not going to be these people because it looks nothing like spinach. Like that's stupid.
Yeah.
Not stupid. I don't want to use that term, but it was just kind of like, okay, sure, let's waste some time going down a path that
Yeah.
we know isn't going to be it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
felt like a waste of time.
It was like an attempt at a red herring that just was like not it. Yeah.
Yeah, or a green herring.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Still better than the humor in this book, so I'm good with it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Oh my god.
I know, like it missed the it was the charming side of British humor, I feel like.
Yes.
Or just British humor in general. Like it was very dry.
Yeah. I need okay, if it's gonna be this dry, I need it to be like dry on the verge of sarcasm. But it didn't even go there. I felt like it just didn't work for me. I don't know. Here's a
Oh
question.
wait, I'm sorry. Before
Okay,
you ask,
go ahead.
I also want to bring up the fact that she goes to a film in London and it's Jungle Book.
Yeah.
I don't know why in my brain that seems so ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just like it's all this, people have been trying to murder her, and all this stuff is happening, and so she escapes to London and she goes to Foyles, and she does all this stuff. She has dinner with her friend, and then she's like, I'm gonna go watch Jungle Book.
And her seeing that movie doesn't lend to the story in any way.
No, no.
Which is something else. We are on the same wavelength. I'm telling you, because I was gonna bring up, like, in chapter 2, she brings up. I don't know if she was about to see, or I can't remember. I can't remember the context of it, but she mentioned the play. Now, like, 2 different movies, Blythe Spirit.
Yes.
And so when I read that, I thought, oh, okay, this is gonna be somehow tied in. You know how, like, authors do that, or even movies do that? They'll reference something, but it's a little bit of nod about what's going on in
Mm-hmm.
the story. And that didn't really happen here. I thought, oh, Blythe Spirit. I know what that is. I've seen that
Mm-hmm.
play as, like, a little kid. And I have, like, a lot of fun memories of it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I thought, oh, maybe this will kind of give me an indication, or maybe it does, because this is spoiler chat, anyways. So in Blythe Spirit, it's like the wife, um, the spirit of a wife at a séance comes back, and so this would make sense as a nod to who
Who done it?
committed the crime, but that
Mm-hmm.
still doesn't make any sense because the wife is a ghost. So that wasn't, what I mean? It just, like, didn't lead anywhere. I didn't really see any
Yeah.
connections. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, bringing up Jungle Book, I'm like, what does this have to do with, like,
I mean,
it
there
doesn't
was
have to be
nothing.
so on the nose, but something.
Right. And there really isn't anything about Jungle Book
Yeah.
that I feel lends itself to the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, the other thing too that kind of was like, what's the point of this person, was the new neighbor that moved in.
Mm-hmm.
That was also just kind of a weird, like, she was like, oh, I forgot what it felt like to be a woman and attracted to a man. And then she's like sitting there and goes, oh, wait, I think I figured it out, and runs away. It just kind of was like, what was the point of this, introducing this guy? I mean, if she was, maybe it's just because he comes into play in later books,
Oh,
but
okay.
my thing is that if you're going to introduce him but not utilize him, then don't use him in a moment that is pivotal for the book.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Because
You
then
know?
it makes it very clear that that's all they were meant for. And
Right,
you're not even
right. You
killing the
just
right character.
setting it up this way, it makes you feel like this guy is going to be essential in the story, in the end at least. And if you want to do that, then yeah, make him a part of the end. Like, make him maybe say something, because at this point she just kind of figured out, like, there truly was just nothing about him that led her to, you know, figuring it out. I don't know. It just was kind of like, don't introduce him at a point where you're making a pivotal statement, I guess.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
my gripe. Although, being done, like, starting the dominoes falling by a library book. I did kind of love that, because that was like very old school sort of way to solve something, to be like, who checked this book out last? Like
Yeah.
that. And honestly, can we just talk about how stupid Agatha was to drink tea with the person that you suspect murdered her husband by poisoning? I I don't know. I don't know. It's
It
just
was a
me.
choice.
Yes, it definitely was a choice, but I'm just like, what? What? I would not accept anything from this woman. If I suspected someone of poisoning, I would not go over the house and be like, sure, I'll have a full meal. I'll have a glass of wine. I'll have tea. Like, no, and especially tea. Tea is herbs. It's dried herbs. And that's what cow's pain is. Like, why? I know she didn't use cow's bane
Yeah.
to poison her, but I'm just like, I don't know.
You're almost
I
like, did an American write this book instead of a British person that would be culturally in the know with
that would
tea?
be the only excuse for her sitting down and willingly drinking tea, is if
Yeah.
the author was American. I
Yeah.
100% agree with that statement. It was just, yeah, there was something I like. It was I like I said, I felt like a lot of it was just kind of um uh, just kind of easy, um like easy excuses and broad, kind of like, yeah, that kind of works sort of things. And yeah, just the illogical and kind of useless filler, I feel like, that was in the book as well. I think that kind of didn't that also helped not draw me in to the book, because like you said, it didn't grab you. The characters didn't grab you. I
Yeah.
mean, I figured out it was gonna be the wife like pretty early.
Okay, what was it that made you realize that it's going to be the wife?
How over the top she was,
Mm-hmm.
and especially the fact that the husband doted so much on her, and like she won every year because he was the judge. You knew he probably cheated. She got mad and killed him. Like, that's kind of a generic sort of, once again, even I'm sorry, it's just not there. Don't get me wrong, there are some couples that are just that amazing and innocent that I've met some who were together forever, and
Mm-hmm.
they doted on each other, and it was amazing to see.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come to something like this, and
Mm-hmm.
someone's about to be DED, uh, it's gonna, and they have this kind of character. But I also,
This is why I love you.
one of my favorite uh, films, and for the life of me, this is what it's like to get old, folks. I cannot remember the name of it, and it's one of my favorites. It's just not coming to the front of my mind. George Clooney, Man of Constant Sorrow,
George Clooney
based
and
on the
what?
Odyssey. Okay, so it's the. Why can I not think of the name of this? It's George. No, it's George Clooney. It's based on the Odyssey.
I'll look it up right now.
The song "Man of Constant Sorrow." Oh, brother, where art thou?
Oh, there you go.
Phew. Like I said, folks,
Hey.
welcome to getting old. Uh, but no, one of the characters, he spells out dead, and he goes DED. So that is something that has stuck in my mind for years. So I will always pull that out randomly. I know it's ridiculous, but every once in a while I was like, or the other thing that this guy says in the movie is, she done RUN and OFT. And that I like I said, I'm not gonna lie, I use that like a lot in my brain. Sometimes I'll just randomly spout it, and people will look at me like, what? And then OFT? Oh no, what? But yeah. So yeah, welcome to my brain, folks.
You will run into someone that will get that, and they're going to be a lifelong friend.
Yeah, oh, 100%. I have run into people who do get that. But like I said, like when you expect that someone's gonna be dead, and you have kind of two characters in a marriage like that, and especially when the woman is just over the top emotional. And then also to have her like go on vacation, like it's kind of, oh, I feel like it's overly used
Yeah. Yeah.
in a
It's like
lot of mysteries.
mystery trope that's just like let it go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah,
Would you,
that's kind of why I was like, yeah, it's gonna be the wife. I know it.
yeah, I just initially like you saying that because without that context, it just sounds like you're like loving marriage. She done it.
She done it. Clearly.
Supportive man, you're gonna be dead. And she did it. This will not hold. Oh man.
Oh boy.
But this is
But
what
yeah.
I can't think of her name right now. My brain is done. But I think this is why you and I both really like that Rebel Blue Ranch series. I know it's a different genre, and I'm still
My little millennial heart. And by the way, I'm an elder millennial, so let's just point that out. Elder millennial.
That's so funny.
Don't hold it against me, but I cannot believe why hearts would just start flying. Clearly, this was built by millennials.
I just like that because she's an author. What's her name? Her last name's Sage. It's a pen name. Um
Does it start with an L? Oh my
oh,
God.
Layla
Light?
Sage, I think is her name.
Yes, I think that's what it
Yeah.
is.
I
Rebel
like that
Blue.
she yeah, clearly when we're reading it, she's someone that's so well aware of all the different romance tropes and then finds her own little way to subvert them.
Yes.
And I just want other genres to also do that, like unless you're making a clear nod to a particular work. There's also, I know I
Yes.
haven't read it yet. There's a book called The Only Good Indians by
Mhm.
Stephen Graham Jones, and he's a horror uh genre writer.
Okay.
And that specific book, it's so good because he has it like in maybe four different sections.
Mhm.
And it really is a nod to so many, not just horror books, but like I'd say also books that were adopted into movies. You can kind of see what he's doing, but it's not like derivative. It's like a love letter to the genre
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
that particular book. And I just want more authors to do that with if they're taking on genre literature like murder
Mhm.
mysteries or romance. If you know it so
Mhm.
well, just keep that in mind, but to subvert it, to do something different.
Change it slightly. Yes. Add a
Yeah.
variant to it.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Instead of being
100%.
and or like maybe I don't know if you felt this way or I don't know if it's like relevant, but when you're seeing those things, sometimes I notice more in romance. Not so much because I've actually had so many great reads in romance, but
Mhm.
depending on the book, sometimes the author will use those tropes and instead of like as what they are tropes, they'll use them
Mhm.
as like plot points, like too many in like one book. It's like
Mhm.
trope and then this trope and then this trope. And I've also seen
Yeah.
it in movies, like terrible movies that I love, where
Mhm.
I'm like, I could already tell what's gonna happen because it's just trope, 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 trope,
Mhm.
instead of
Mhm.
an original story that at
Mhm.
times uses those a trope here and there. And it's not good writing, it's not good television. Although again, I love it. I'll still do the thing, but it's
No.
noticeable, kind of like how you're
Right.
saying how you caught onto
Predictable. Yeah.
yes, yes. And oh, what was it? You're watching, yeah, you are watching Only Murders in the Building, right?
I'm not caught up on it, but yeah, I have seen it.
Okay.
But yes, I know exactly where you're going with this. Go ahead.
There was I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but this last season that came out,
Mhm.
I literally knew right away who the killer was. And don't get me wrong, as time passes, I think, oh, maybe somebody else. But that whole time, I had that one person, that initial thought in my head,
Mhm.
and it
Mhm.
really had to do with the way that they directed an episode from a previous season, and I had
Okay.
nothing to base it on. There was no evidence, uh, context clues to base my decision on. I just felt
Okay.
like they gave it away like really easy. And that's just not good writing. And I kind of felt like they did that this past season. I was kind of like, oh, it's not
It cheapens
really.
it.
Yeah. I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I know.
Was there anything else that stood out to you in the Quiche death?
Hang on, let me check my book.
Your notes.
You see all my notes. What was there's one. Oh, so I kind of talked about the colloquialisms because there were quite a few throughout the book. One of my favorites is the slap and tickle for being in essence an affair. I mean, which is exactly what slap and tickle just kind of is. I mean, that's what it means.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So no, that's when she figures out that there was an affair. And the woman is like, yeah, a bit of a slap and tickle. That's in essence that's a British term for you know what.
Hold on. If I was in another universe, if I was married, and the person I was with referred to if they cheated on me as a slap and tickle, I would still be with them. Just because it's funny.
I love that term. It's bad. Like it's not a good thing. And actually it can be used in just marital congress. Just in general. But because of how the woman used it when Agatha was talking to her, she was just saying like they were having an affair. A bit of slap and tickle. So yes. So like I love stuff like that. And then the other thing too that lock, stock, and barrel. So I always wondered where that came from because that's just very like something everyone says.
Yeah.
Like, and it means the whole enchilada, which is that's the American colloquialism. Yeah. So lock, stock, and barrel. So the reason it means like the whole thing is because that isn't those are the three pieces of a musket. So and it was utilized as a way to talk about like a gun or a musket back then, because it's the flintlock, if I remember right, it's flintlock and then a stock and then the barrel of the musket. So the actual like gun. So when people were saying like lock, stock, and barrel, they were talking about the entire musket. So yeah, that kind of was like, that makes sense now when you say that, because it's not like if you're thinking about it now, you're thinking it's like the lock on a store, the entire stock of a store. Like you'd expect it to be store based. But then the barrel comes in and you're like, barrel? That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so it's actually in reference to a musket. And then and then it started to be, people when they were starting to utilize it in speech, it kind of turned into meaning the whole thing. It's just another way of saying the whole thing.
Yeah, but the whole musket doesn't sound as good as the whole enchilada. So
I prefer whole enchilada. I mean, I don't know about you. I want a whole enchilada. Just saying.
All the fixins. Oh man.
But yeah. So I was going. Oh, and also it was really interesting because another one they utilized was big fish in a small pool. But in the US, I feel like we primarily say a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was kind of the other thing. I was like, huh. And that is just because of where we are geographically and what we identify things. So it's like, that's a pond. So it's a big fish in a small pond. And then in the UK, it is big fish in a small pool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's so interesting. That's
Oh.
that. It's kind of like what do you call it in Simpsons? The Shelbyville.
Oh, yeah. Totally. I haven't even thought about that in forever. But yeah, no, exactly that.
Random
Yeah.
old lady thought came to me.
But
Oh
yeah,
man.
I think that was it. But yeah, once again, my biggest thing, why did Agatha drink the tea? In conclusion,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah. Something about, there's something about I actually think good storytelling when it comes to mysteries, which is kind of the whole reason why red herrings exist,
Mm-hmm.
is because when something as nefarious as a story takes place, the whole idea for like solving something is to realize there's actually just too much clues, and you actually just have to sort through what is actually a clue that's relevant and legitimately a clue and what's not, which is
Yeah.
why how red herrings happen, right?
Yeah.
Because there's just too much to sift through.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I just wasn't getting that vibe. Like, I think you clued in on something that I didn't notice because I just didn't know what the the spinach adjacent
Mm-hmm.
item was, so I didn't catch
Mm-hmm.
that. But if I did know, then that would have really bothered me. But yeah, just something like that. It wasn't like effective, and nothing about the journey made me feel like we were pressed for time.
Mm-mm.
And it's like, I know that it's
Not
like
at all.
a cozy mystery, but we should have some sense of urgency because there's a crime to solve and there's a
You
murder
gotta
out
figure it
there.
out. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
gotta make you want to figure it out.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's a catch? What does Agatha? I mean, don't be wrong. They thought you know what? How should I say this? They did ask her questions early on, but we don't feel like they're ever gonna like lock her up
Hmm.
and accuse her. So there just doesn't feel like any pressure of what does this character have to
Of
lose
solving
now?
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, or anyone. It just doesn't. There's no risk in it.
I mean, making her solve crimes out of sheer boredom is not, I don't know, I feel like that's not enough of impetus to like
Yeah,
set it. Just
and
because
we do
that's
get.
honestly,
Yeah,
that's what it felt like.
yeah,
And she was bored. She's like, hey, I have nothing to do. I've sold my company. I mean, she was like the most British Southern old lady
yeah,
I think I've ever read.
yeah. And then we do get some of her backstory.
Hmm.
None of it really lends to what's happening in present day. Like where her
Well,
mind is to want to do this again. Like I said, she's
right.
retired.
She's a PR and she was in PR. Like she was
Yeah.
not, and not even, was it, or marketing. Was it just marketing or was it PR?
Well, one I think it was PR. I could be wrong, but I
Yeah.
thought it was PR.
But like, yeah, what aspect of that is solving crime going to fill that void
Yeah,
since you don't have, yeah.
yeah,
Just I feel like a lot of illogical things with that book.
yeah. Yeah. It's just like what is it about this person that makes her like a curious or crafty person, and we don't really get
Mhm.
that.
Mm-mm.
I
No.
don't know, but she's made so many more books, and I apparently it did well because it was adapted into a
Right, into a
show.
whole series. But I mean, it's great, and
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of books that have elements that have been elevated once it becomes a
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of, I felt, you know, in some ways, like Bridgerton for me,
Yeah.
while they've also detracted from some of the books.
Yeah.
I feel like they've kind of elevated uh, some aspects that were kind of like bugging me. And the whole first book of Bridgerton, for me, the series starts with Anthony and Kate. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Just
It's still
saying.
my
Book
favorite
two.
season. Yeah.
But they took the first book, which isn't my favorite, and they actually did a great job of elevating it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, you know, in some cases, putting it on TV like that actually kind of helps it and makes it complete in a lot of ways. So
Yeah.
good for them. That's
Yeah.
all I say. Good for them. We'll have to try watching.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. I definitely want to. Now I'm curious, especially because
Hmm.
there's so many seasons.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly people enjoy it. So
DL. Hi. I will be sure to watch this on replay. Thank you. Feel free.
Godspeed.
Yeah. Just so you know, we are meandering. You know, if you're just doing some house cleaning and you want to listen to us in the background, dishes, laundry,
do
because we are
not
all over the place today. Just so you
do
know.
not make
Yeah.
this your sole
What a great
like
way
thing to
to promote my
watch.
channel.
I mean, it's great, but like you can have it on in the background.
Yes. This sounds better. Truly. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh goodness.
Um, hey, JK, nice to see you. The
Hi
author
guys.
in the house. Now we're getting to culinary confessions.
Mhm.
I love the little culinary confessions and the cover. The cover is so cute.
Mhm.
Um, I just needed a cozy read. It's been a rough 2 months.
Absolutely.
Oh God.
It is. I mean, it's and that's the thing about this book is it's just very easy. Like I just kind of blasted through it. It's definitely nothing hard hitting.
Yeah.
Um, but it
Which
was
is what
fun.
a cozy romance does.
Exactly. And like I said earlier, it's very innocent and just kind of, you know, sweet to see these two characters because they're very young. And that's the other thing is even when they do flashbacks, it's to high school, but that's like, you know, or not high school. It's was it high school?
Yeah, I
I
think it's
can't
high school.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was high school. But that was like 3 years ago for them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it wasn't that long and they're still in college. So it was just very, you know, kind of sweet and innocent. And like I said, this book brought a lot of PTSD for me for culinary school of just you know, a lot of the terms and how you were talking about like the descriptions
Mhm.
were kind of missing. I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But because I know the culinary aspects of this, I kind of was able to fill it in with my own knowledge. And I
Yeah,
felt
yeah.
like I myself was able to round it out a little bit more. But if you're not coming from that sort of background, I think it's just kind of like a generic sort of you know, kind of story.
Yeah,
But it was super cute and like at towards the end, the grocery store, I bring that up again because I can't tell you, like, when I go to the grocery store, and especially if I'm making like my friend's wedding cake or birthday cake or like my friend's baby shower, things like that that I've done the pastries for. When you go to the grocery store, you have an itemized list. I personally sort it by aisle. So I'm
Yeah.
officially that old person who walks into a grocery store and gets pissed off if they've rearranged. Because a lot, a lot of the times, like, I will sort my lists, and especially if it's a big project, like, I'll sort it by aisle so that I know, okay, I can start on this side and go to the other side, and I know where I need to go, I know what I need to grab, and I can make sure that I check it off. So towards the end of the book, when they're going to the grocery store for ingredients for the wedding, I like I get that feeling, and they kind of, how they get there, it's almost like they're prepared for battle, and they're like, okay, let's do this. And they also, because I know Justin, I think, brings it up, but he's like, bakers are always prepared for the unexpected.
Mm.
And that's another aspect that I completely identify with, because I will not show you my baking cabinet. I feel like you've seen it. It's insane. Like, I am prepared to make anything and everything you could expect, or like I would unexpectedly need, um, at like the drop of a hat. And I have, I can't believe I'm about to admit this. I even have like cake rounds that have already been baked and are in the freezer. And then sometimes I'll just make a cake and rotate it out because
Yeah.
it can
Yeah.
last for a little while. But
Yeah.
I mean, God, heaven forbid something happens and I need to come up with dessert. 9 times out of 10, I will not have to go to a grocery store because I have everything. So, like, in the book, when he says that, like, bakers are prepared, and it might have been Maddie who says this, but it's like bakers are prepared for the unexpected, and that's 100%
Oh, here
true
we go with
because
our
you just
signal
don't know.
again. We've been having tech issues all day. Here we go. So you said, say that last line again?
No, just that, you never know what's going to happen. You never know if someone's going to need something. So it's better to just be prepared. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, if I need to make a dessert last minute, I will not have to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
have everything.
Oof. JK says, I also get mad
Yes.
when they rearrange stuff in the grocery store. Like, where did the normalcy go? Where's what I used to? So that also comes from personal experience. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, where was I going to go with this? Oh, I do usually shop by like my local Trader Joe's. I will only go to one specific one because I have it mapped out in here. And I go in the aisles a specific way. When I go in,
Hmm.
I'm going to my right in that non-dairy dairy, and then I'm getting veggies. Like, I have a whole way. And I don't know if you do this. I also have a way that I put groceries in my cart. The
It's
reason why
Tetris.
is the reason why is because if I get to bag my groceries, great. I like to do it. But if someone else bags my groceries, I want like them to be grabbing the heavy items first
Yeah.
before they hit the produce. And oh my, you don't know, what just crazy is that sometimes I'll be on a rare occasion I've gone to like or I'll go to Mitsu on the other side of town, and the way they have it set up is like I can't really bag my own groceries,
Hmm.
and they'll just grab any random ass thing and they're mixing it all on. I'm like, in my head, I don't say this because then I'll come off as neurotic as I actually am. I'm like, I organized it for you. Why are you messing with the system? It bothers me so badly.
I know. I know. I mean, they literally just like toss stuff in. They don't care. They just want to get it done. Although now it's really interesting because especially with the introduction of self checkout, um, that has been in the UK for years.
Hmm.
Even I mean, when I was over there 12, oh my God, it's been 12 years. Uh, you know, I like when you go to Sainsbury, you grab your stuff, you check out. I mean, usually, typically, you go for like a day. You don't do these massive trips like we do in the US for groceries. You're used to either going to the grocery store every day or like every other day and just grab a few things because you have to walk around. You don't, it's just not as Americanized. And
Yeah.
I was using self checkout like way back then, and then all of a sudden, like in the last couple of years when they started introducing it, I'm like, everyone's like, I don't understand how this works. I was like, here, let me show you. But because of that, like you get to like bag your own groceries, so you kind of get to stick with your like style of bagging. Because I agree, like if you're gonna do, put the heavy stuff in first and then, oh, hi kitty kitty, when you do that and then put like and they throw in the produce and stuff, it gets all bruised unless you do it that way. So I can
Yeah.
feel, I understand that idea. She's like, excuse me, let me go. And now there's a cat butt.
It's always with the cat butt. Um, I did like the anxiety representation in the book. What do you want? Come on. My God. Or just like there's this like several descriptions of the main character doing that thing. What is it called? Intrusive thoughts.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I felt like that was connected to their anxiety as well. So I like those elements. I was like, oh, those intrusive thoughts.
I mean, especially if you're a creative person, like you are your own, like you're your own harshest critic.
Yeah,
And, and especially like when you do have anxiety and you do get those intrusive thoughts, when you're a creative person, it's so hard to overcome that.
yeah.
And it's I deal with it, and especially with baking, like I brought in cupcakes last week, and I did not like how they turned out. uh, I didn't compensate for the lemon curd that I added to the cream cheese frosting enough, so it was a loose cream cheese frosting, so it didn't pipe the way I wanted it to, and I was not happy with it, and I brought it in, and everyone's like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "Here are my mistake cupcakes," but it's just that's kind of how, if your brain is that way, if it's wired that way and you have anxiety and you do have these intrusive thoughts, like it's so hard to overcome that and continue to, do, like for Maddie, continue to do what she did was
Yeah.
great and amazing. And especially in the end when she did put together the whole spread for the wedding, and she did have aspects that she maybe didn't like, but everyone loved it. I mean, even to
Yeah.
the point where where the aunt like tried to take credit and be like, "Look at this amazing wedding cake I made." But I love that Justin was there to kind of help her,
Mm.
and especially leading up to the big event, was kind of there to help her stay out of her own mind,
Mm. Mhm.
and help to kind of build her up to this point so that in the end, when the aunt did try to take credit for the cake, Maddie like stepped up and was like, honey, and pulled her away because like the aunt was talking to the entire crowd at the wedding, had everyone's attention, and was trying to claim that she made this cake. And then Maddie was like, wait a second, and actually pulled her to the side and stood up and was like, I made this and I will tell them, or you can tell them, like, it's up to you. And the aunt, of course, like, had to eat crow and she corrected herself, but she still made it seem like it wasn't any big deal, which it's kind of my bone of contention with this book.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, what's the
Go to color
point?
out harder.
Yeah, it's like the whole reason she stood up for herself is now just kind of like a for not a for what, because she did, and the aunt did admit that she didn't make the cake.
Yeah.
But I felt like it downplayed
Mm-hmm.
the kind of end goal of what, who Maddie was becoming. And it's like instead of the aunt like taking uh, responsibility, she just kind of like got away with it and was just kind of like, actually Maddie made it. And then that was it. Like there wasn't any sort of consequence or even like a further explanation for any of it. And I felt like that was just kind of easy.
We need that auntie to eat crow.
I don't want her to be like stoned or kicked out of the village. I don't want that. I felt like it was missing. If you're trying to make a point of Maddie standing up for herself and making things right, I just felt like the aunt got off a little bit, on the like the easier side. Like she was just kind of like, oh, actually Maddie made the cake, and then that was it. Like there wasn't any sort of, holding her accountable for it. So that kind of, I don't know, it made it easy. Like it was kind of an easy out. Like you didn't I felt like they didn't really finish the end. It's just kind of like they were building right, and they just kind of built it up to this moment, and then it was just kind of like a kind of moment. I don't know.
Something else that I observed, because I'm not religious now, but I did have like a childhood religious upbringing. But I'll believe whatever you want to believe. I'll say that first, disclaimer. But I never like drank the water, if you will.
The Kool-Aid.
I just didn't understand. Yeah. And so my experience was more like maybe a little bit religious trauma light, of just like the idea of do you like that show? It's evil. Do you like that cereal? It's evil. Like everything's evil. Like, but what I did like from this book that was ever so lightly healing was that there was like a slight, like maybe conservative religious undertone to it that I don't think I've ever read in a book, and so I wasn't like really used to that. But I thought it was kind of it was gently handled, but I felt like it was all like not basically one of the few positive experiences I've had in a book when it comes to like someone with a religious upbringing or a strict upbringing. And I don't think I've read enough of those like healthy examples in books, I don't think. So that's also something else I like, that I was like, I think because of my younger programming, I was waiting for like, even though it's a cozy romance read, I get it, but my brain, I was waiting for some nefarious consequence.
The religious shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, totally. And honestly, one of the other like cute things that I did enjoy was the fact that she learned a little bit of Spanish to like talk to his family. Like I love that. That was really cute. I mean, she said she took it in school, but like she made it a point to learn like just conversational Spanish a little bit just so that
Right.
she could communicate with his family. And that was really cute. I did enjoy that.
Yeah. 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 All
But
right.
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
wrap this up.
it was very light and just kind of a, like you said, cozy read.
Yeah. Light, easy breezy read. I have to go
Yeah.
because not only is Ginger being Ginger in here, but my daughter came in and she okay, like on a Saturday Night Live where they hold up a sign to cue them.
What did my mini me do?
She came in with a sign and she's like, "Could you be done at this time?" I was like, "Okay, I need to be done."
Elise. But yeah, so moral of the story, Quiche of Death could have been better.
Yeah,
And Culinary Confessions is cute.
yeah. They were definitely ugh, oh quiche. Anyways, thank you for everyone for watching. I hope we made some sort of sense today.
Not our finest hours.
Yeah. Look out for the announcement. I usually make it on actually no, it's too early, huh? I will be announcing what books we're going to be reading next, just not right now. We're going to iron those out. This is like a quarterly series because I'm rotating it between my readathon. And so the next character I'm tackling is Madeline. And so that will be at the end of the month. And also, DL Tillery, who stopped by in the chat, I'm having an author interview with her regarding her debut novel. And I'll also be discussing a couple of her short stories that she read that are still within the same universe as a book that she wrote. So you have that to look forward to. Sam, where could everyone find you for their culinary reads?
For culinary,
Sorry.
reads. For baking, it'll be on Instagram, and it's alias Amelie24 is my handle. And I'm just warning you now, it's baking and dogs. But yeah, I definitely check it out. There's a lot of fun kind of pictures, and don't hate me that you can't have any of it.
Basically, that's directed at me, but okay.
Like these.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye,
thanks
ladies.
everyone.
So much fun. All right, everyone. Happy reading.